Okay, this video is going to be about making collaged supports. A support is anything that you choose to make art on top of. So traditionally that would be canvas and paper and things like that. I like to use collage supports because you're not starting with a blank white surface that you have to figure out how you're going to activate all that space. You're kind of starting with something that already has that going for you. So you can see I'm just using a glue water mixture. And I'm just spreading it all over cardboard, but you could use mat board, you could use wood, you could use anything that's going to maintain its shape and its support. These are school paper towels, and I soaked them in the glue water mixture and then wrung them, fairly dry, and then I'm just arranging them so that they have some texture. I don't want them completely flat because that would kind of defeat the purpose. So here I'm painting gesso over the top. Gesso's a primer, and it's just going to give it a white base to it. Some of them I've left just plain, the raw paper towel color. But you can also paint gesso over the top. Like I said, I don't really love to start with a plain white surface because then I have to figure out how I'm going to activate all that space. So here I'm just adding a tiny bit of kind of cheap tempera gold color just to make it look a little bit antiqued, I guess. And then I'm cleaning up my area on the table so that I can start a new one. All right, again, glue and water. This time I used much less water so that I didn't have to pour the glue right onto the cardboard. So just a nice mixture, and then coating the entire surface. And then I'm going to put I think they're timestamp cards from when we used to have to stamp your card when you went to work and left work. I'm not really sure what they are, but there's a ton of them in the collage station in the classroom, and just making sure that they are completely glued top and bottom. And then I figured out that it's actually much easier to soak them or coat them in the glue mixture itself. I really like these because you can't see it from here, but it's just a series of numbers. So there's already a pattern going on in your background with that before you've even started. So that space is already activated and with a pretty basic principle of design. And these are dictionary pages. I don't love that white margin space. So here you can see I'm just tearing that space off and overlapping, and then putting a nice layer of glue mixture over the top. So you want to put glue on the bottom and top. And now I'm mixing Mod Podge and gesso together so that the gesso is a little bit watered down. Mod Podge is basically like glue. You can see through it when it's dry, but I use too much gesso. So here I'm using a palette knife to take it off because I couldn't see through it, and then therefore what's the point of putting paper in the background if you're not going to be able to see through it. So I just took a little bit off and then painting over these, but just enough that I'm getting a surface to draw on, but I can still see the pattern underneath. Here I'm using pages from the back of an atlas. So it's actually just lists of places in the world. And I'm collaging it a bit more because I want it to be more of an erratic pattern. I don't want all of the words going in the same direction. So there's another technique. And with this one, I used a little bit of watercolor paint, just a tiny little bit. You can see because the surface was still wet, it spreads out pretty easily. And then when it's dry, you just put it on the paper cutter, cut them into whatever sizes you want, and you're ready to start your artwork. Once everything dries, if you feel like your surface still has too much of the image showing through, you can always go over it with another layer of your gesso mixture just to make it a little bit less transparent. Or you could always just use this as the base of your collage. So you could collage more stuff over the top, or you could draw on vellum and use that as another layer. You could print out photos on vellum or more transparent paper and use that as a layer. You could use block printing. So that's when you carve out of linoleum or wood. In school, it's usually linoleum. and do a block print on top of it. It can be whatever you want. So have fun.